I'm Coach Schumann. I'm here with Coach D, and as always, we're excited to talk with a great guest. Guy's done a fantastic job coaching, and has been at the same place, which is a novelty for quite a while. Coach Cebrosky, which he really has risen really quickly in what he's doing from a coaching standpoint. He took Kings in 2024, I think it was, to the MAC championship and to the playoff. I think first time in a pretty long time that they were able to go all the way there. It was MAC Coach of the Year in 2024. Had a bunch of guys get all MAC. He was a guy that was a linebackers coach, a defensive coordinator there for I guess 7-8 years. Was a linebacker coach before that, and was a PA guy, and really has an experience from that standpoint, coaching at the high school level there, and was a graduate of Delaware Valley College. So where I'm assuming, and I'll let him dive into it, that got his original playing there. So he has really done some amazing things. He had success as a player, not just a coach. So as a player, his team, I think at Del Val went 10-0 one of the years when he was there, and won the championship. So this is a coach who's really fast rising in the ranks, and is at Kings doing a phenomenal job. So it's great to have you on, Coach.
Pleasure to be on, guys. Good morning, first of all, and I'm just glad to be here. So thank you.
That's great. It's really good to see what you're really doing. You've had a lot of success. If you could just kind of dive in to your whole career, your playing career, and your coaching career, and some of those experiences you've had along the way.
Yeah, I mean, it all starts if I go back, and I'll even go back to the high school times. I grew up in a town called Lehighton High School, Lehighton, Pennsylvania. If you ever heard of Jim Thorpe, it's the town next to Jim Thorpe. We're right at the top of the Lehigh Valley. We played in the Mountain Valley Conference back then, which is now the Lehigh Valley Conference. It's a blue collar town. You know what I mean? It's made up of factory working, coal mining workers. Big time, blue collar town. And that mindset has stuck with me all those years. I was, blessed, very, very blessed. And I mean that in every which way. I was fortunate to have, great coaches there. Coach Dave Parsons was my coach as a freshman and sophomore. And then Bill Brong was my high school head coach. He actually got me into coaching when I was done playing. He's a father to me in my mind. And I talk to him to this day, and he's meant everything to me. And then, I was fortunate to get those guys, and we won in high school. We won multiple games in high school, and that winning mindset and blue collar attitude, work kind of stuck with me. And then I was fortunate to receive a scholarship to the University of Buffalo out of high school. A guy by the name of Bill Laser recruited me out of there, and then I played for a guy by the name of Jim Hoffer. It didn't work out there like I wanted to. Obviously, coaching staff changes, things of that nature. Ended up coming home, and then next thing you know, my actually small world, my best friend, one of my really good friends, was playing at a school called Delaware Valley College, and one of the nights, it was June, it was late June. He's like, "Hey, why don't you come down and hang out one night?" He's working on campus. And I was like, "Wow, this school's kind of neat." He goes, "Yeah, you got to come back and play football." I'm like, "I don't know. Maybe." Yeah. The next day I get a phone call by a guy by the name of Coach Gregory Feedick. And Coach Feedick's the O-line coach. He's been at the O-line coach for over 20 years at Del Val. And he just started talking to me. And then the next thing I know, the next day I get a call from Coach G.A. Mangus. And he ended up calling my mom. And he's like, "Come down for a visit." I went down there. And next thing you know, I'm an Aggie. And best decision of my life, honestly. You know what I mean? I met my wife there, everything like that. And then, we won a lot of games. You know what I mean? We won a lot of games, very successful. But the biggest thing is those guys are my brothers for life. I talk to those guys every day. We have a golf trip. Mike Isgro and I and a couple of the guys, we have a golf trip that we go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina every year. And that's where that journey took me. And then after, graduating with a secondary social studies degree with a minor in political science, Bill Brong called me and said, "Hey, you got to come back to Nazareth High School." So when I was walking out of Del Valle, I had an opportunity to go coach at Nazareth High School. Head coach there by the name of Rob Milosky, taught me a ton. Rob Milosky took Parkland to the first state championship back in 2003 with Austin Scott as his running back. Nico Pinchek, they were very successful there, and he taught me how to be an all-around coach. Those guys, I was in there for 3 years. We turned the program around when they first got there. I think the program won 5 games in 3 years. Then we went 6-5, 8-3. Then we won districts and went 12-2 that year. And then after that, I was able to go to Kings and become a D-line coach for a season or two. And then the defensive coordinator job opened up, and the head coach here, Jeff Narr at the time, and he taught me a lot as well. I was like, Coach, I'm ready for this job. I interviewed it, applied for it, and was fortunate to get it. And then, in 2014, started my journey as a defensive coordinator. And then in 2023, I was elevated assistant head coach underneath Skylar Foltz. And then, it just happened to be that the job opened up in 24, and I was excited. The kids, the players here are great. The administration is amazing. The biggest thing about Kings is that it is a family. It's not a huge family, but it is a family. And when you say about family, I always like to use the term "forget about me, I love you." And that's huge for us. What we talk about as families, people talk about family, but we actually define it. And what it is, forget about me, I love you. Everybody on this campus, whether who you see, it's all about love. And it really is. And they take care of each other. So that's kind of been my journey to where I'm at now. Obviously the real head coach here is my wife. She's a lot for us. She takes care of the boys. I have a 6-year-old girl named Callie. I have a soon-to-be 3-year-old named Noah. We vacation a lot in the Shore Conference of New Jersey. We have a lot of ties to the Shore Conference of New Jersey. A lot of friends in the Ocean and Monmouth County area. So that's where we frequent a lot. It's Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and we go from there. So that's been my track.
That's quite a good journey. That's quite a good journey. It's interesting. Well, first of all, where's Kings exactly located? What's the what city is it in?
So we're in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Wilkes-Barre. Okay.
So what you do is it's we're an hour and 40 or hour and 45 minutes north of Philly, and we're an hour and 50 minutes west of the Bronx. So literally, I took my daughter to the Pinstripe Bowl. We were right off of 80, so we drove right out 80. We were at the.
So that was perfect. You took one road the whole way, brother.
That's right. So it's that's where we're at. So it's all interstate, easy to get to. Obviously, if you look at our roster, it tells the sign. A lot of what I call the greater Philadelphia area, the Bucks, Monco, Delco, Chester, inner city Philly. The PCL league. And then you got Jersey, you got South Jersey down there, Burlington, Gloucester, Camden, Salem. And then you go to the Shore Conference. We're loaded with Shore Conference kids, Ocean and Monmouth County kids. And that's what that's where our bulk of our team is because of how easy it is to get to us. That's where we're located. So.
Very cool. Very cool. So when you started kind of your coach, what was the impetus for you, to start that coaching journey, and really the transition from going from, Nazareth from high school to college? What was that made you take that first leap there?
So first of all, the reason why I wanted to get into coaching, I was sitting, I thought I always thought I want to be an engineer. You know what I mean? I was like, everybody gets that engineer. Then I take that, stats class, calculus class. And I'm like, nah, yeah. But Bill Brong, my high school coach, my high school head coach, had a really big impact on me. He did a lot for me, and he still does a lot for me. And I was like, I think this is the route I want to go. I want to help people. You know what I mean? I come from a single mother household. You know what I mean? It was my mom, my sister and I, and then my dad, I know him, but it was, it was a broken up family. So my high school head coach really did a lot for me in a sense of, putting me on the right track. You know what I mean? I'm a first generation college student. I was the first one ever to graduate in my family. So like that that mentality of helping people and helping kids achieve goals is why I got into it. The funny thing about moving from high school to college was I was at a time in my life where I was single. You know what I mean? You know, I didn't really have to. I didn't have many bills. I mean, a couple of school loans, a beat up Chevy pickup truck, and you know, there was an opportunity. I was kind of stuck at a place at Nazareth where, you know, the staff was in place, which was good. You know, I mean, I love the staff. You know, had my best man on my wedding.
You know how that is though. Like that they're there. It's the structure's there.
Yeah.
You're the new guy. Like, we've been there.
Yeah. So I just, you know, I got a call. I will never forget. I was sitting on my porch, 4th of July, and I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden my phone beeps, and it's an email, and it's from Jeff Narr. And Jeff, you know, Coach Narr, you know, God love him. He said, "Hey, are you still interested in coaching college?" And I was just like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm interested." Yeah. You know what I mean? So I felt bad, but I think I called him 8 times and might have emailed him 10 times in the next like 24 hours. And he eventually got back to me. He's like, "Hey, how about you come up Tuesday? I have a D-line job and a tight ends job opened up." And I was like, I'll be there. And then I interviewed. I sat in a meeting room with him and Casey Goff, who was my first DC that I worked under. And Casey's out at St. Vincent now. Great
just
guy.
took that, right? TCNJ for a while.
Yeah, Casey's, you know, great. Learned a lot underneath Casey. So long story short, he sits me down. He's like, "Hey, it's not a lot of money." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Well, how much is it?" He goes, "It's this much." I said, "Perfect. I'll be broke, but I don't care. Here we go." And that's how I got there. You know what I mean? You got to pay your dues. You know what I mean? There's nothing fancy about it. Like, trust me, ramen noodles was a main course meal some nights, and you know, the heater never went above 55. You know what I mean? And you know, I had a couple college coaches that lived with me, and we made it work. And and that's huge. You know, I mean, one time in the house, it was myself, Skylar Foltz, who is now the head coach at McDaniel, and then Tyrone Young, he's the head coach at Kentucky Wesleyan. Like, we all, and then Sammy Kagos, who's now a big time recruiter down in Florida. I mean, we all 4 of us lived in a house and we made it work. So that's and then we survived and we're thriving. You know what I mean? So
no doubt. And it's that grind of the early part of it that kind of sets a foundation for kind of your own work ethic for what you want to instill in the guys that come behind you. Talk about how, you know, when you got the opportunity first to become a coordinator, and then, you know, obviously the opportunity in 2024 to become a head coach, but what kind of those 2 leaps were like for you? And, you know, were they different stage leaps for you? Were, like, you know, where you really had to deal with different things? Obviously, at head coach, you're dealing with different things than you are a coordinator. But talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when I became the defensive coordinator, I didn't know a thing. I'll admit, like, I was green. You know what I mean? And I mean that, you know, in a sense, the first person that I was very fortunate, you know, Coach Narr coached at Muhlenberg before he came to Kings. I was very fortunate to be able to clinic with Duke Donnelly, God rest his soul. But Coach Donnelly, you know, took his time with me. You know, we clinicked multiple times, taught me a lot. And he showed me how to build a culture defensively, what we look for defensively. You know, these are the tips. This is what you look for in a linebacker. This is what you look for in a D lineman. So I have I owe a lot to, you know, Coach Donnelly and the time that he really spent with me over those times. When I took that leap, it was trial. It was, you know, trial by fire, man. I was in the fire, and, you know, you got to go. I mean, you can't turn to anybody. You got to go. And then you have kids that are now relying on you. You know, you're responsible for a whole unit. And, you know, it took me, what the cool thing with me is that I had to move to linebackers, because now I needed to know the back end and the front end. And then I needed to make sure our guys were squared away. The coolest thing that it taught me is that I always looked at everything. Oh man, look at this blitz, look at this. But you might install it from the front to the back, but you better build it from the back to the front. So the biggest thing that I took away the biggest thing that I learned from that to go into a DC is, like, D lineman makes a mistake, it might be 5 yards. Linebacker
Yep.
makes a mistake might be 10 to 15, but if the DBs make a mistake or you don't have that squared up, it's 6
Bye-bye.
points. It's 6 points. So that was the biggest lesson I learned. And then, you just the other thing that really stuck with it was, we didn't have the fastest guys, we didn't have the biggest guys, but we had guys that could play. Like we had guys that, gave great effort. So my job was, it's not about the scheme, it's about the players. So what can they do? Don't tell me what they can't do. Tell me what they can do. And we've always structured our defense around guys and what they can do. I've predicated myself on, there's games we got under. We had 12 different packages, and it might be just for one call, and that's okay because those were and it gives the guys onuses. It gives the players an onus that they have, a responsibility. So that was the biggest change for me going from a position coach to a coordinator is being able to coordinate that and making sure our staff is all on the same page. I've been blessed to have, I keep using the word blessed, but I've been very fortunate to have great, assistant coaches as well. Through my time here, guys, like Jeff Endy was with me. Now he's at Ursinus. Andrew Nevitt was here, guys that just, and then Edwin Edwards, who's now the DC at TCNJ. Those guys have gone through here, and Tommy Gilmore. Tommy played for me. He's now the special teams coordinator at Eastern. Chris Bantel, him and I worked together we worked there many years. He's now at Wilkes. So I've been fortunate to have quality, coaches. Another coach that was here for a little bit that really helped me even more in 2019, the spring 20, Frank Sheptock, who's now the head coach at Bloomsburg. He was here for a little bit with me.
Great guy. Great guy.
He was here with me for a little bit, and he helped me even more in that. And then, when the time came to be the head coach, I felt like I was more prepared for that than I was being the DC because I already gone on a couple head coaching interviews. I had a couple head coaching interviews at that time. So it was really, really, really good for me. I already had everything I was looking for. I had a staffing set up, recruiting set up. Obviously, recruiting and staffing's got to be, recruiting's number one. So I felt like when it was time to take over, it was good. And not only that, like the benefit for me is that I was already here for 12 years before I even took over. So I knew what to expect. I knew the structure of the school. I knew who how it is, who you need to talk to, when you need to talk to them, how you need to talk to them. And I knew
who you're going to talk to, and it's actually going to get things done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the intricacies of what actually goes into being in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? Even like how you're going to approach, like, we all have that binder, right? Where we've taken things, or we've literally have, a section that says, no, like this is not what we're going to do. Right. And you keep that as you go along. But I think the experience of going on interviews beforehand is a big deal. Even if, look, like, I would go on interviews as a younger guy when I thought I wanted to be a head coach. Now, no way. Absolutely. Right. Like I would go on those interviews almost going in like, yes, I'm going to approach this. Like I want this gig, but you know what I mean? Like I don't, it's more of an experience type of thing. Go in, you kind of see how it is, and then ask for that feedback from that interview, like, hey, what wasn't right, or it wasn't the right fit. Why, right? To get that kind of feedback. I think that stuff, that actual like boots on the ground interview process can really aid as you move forward within it, Correct.
There's no doubt. And the biggest thing that I tell coaches all the time, I always heard this before, you won't become a head coach. And everybody told me is like, you don't really know how it is till you sit in the seat. They can tell you all about it, but it's true. You know what I mean? Like now for me, it's like, I never had to worry about a budget. It was just football, making sure my kids are good. Now, my focus is not only on that, but it's, academics. It's, how we make sure it's budget. So it's a little different of a role, but I feel like I was better prepared for that in a sense, that jump than I was when I went from position to coordinator. So, it's been great. A lot of support here. One thing that people don't know about King's College is, we were started by the University of Notre Dame, the Congregation of Holy Cross. So we have that athletic support here. So it's been very, very good for me in a sense is that, I can talk to the president anytime. I can talk to the VPs anytime. Everybody's very open. They want what's best for the players. Close to half of the whole college is nothing but athletes. So it's not a very big commuter school. There's a lot of kids that stay here. So it's been very comfortable. It's been a very comfortable transition, and obviously winning helps, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kings has had, since you've really been there as an assistant, as a head coach, it's probably best run in its history, as far as from a program standpoint. And it's really had a lot of really good success and has some great years. It's Division III level, what you said, that the school is made up of a lot of athletes, that especially the Pennsylvania Division IIIs. There's no doubt that's a large part of it, right? Because a lot of them are private schools, and the athletes make up the majority of the school, and that's creates a certain culture too that I think is positive, right? Because there's a lot of people that are all kind of pulling in that same direction, and looking to do similar type of things, which is really cool. Talk about like how you generated kind of what your philosophy is. You talked about family early on in the beginning, like what is your focus as a head coach with your program, and then we'll get to talk a little recruiting after that, because that kind of leads into my next question. But yeah, talk about that part of it.
Yeah. So the biggest thing, like I go back to, is family, and you're going to have schools that talk about family, but can they define it? Can they show it? Is it can you show it? And the biggest thing for me is that, with that being said, is that, my guys were, Easter this past year, I had 15 guys at my house. Yeah. I mean, my wife and my daughters are always, my daughters are always at practice. Now she's in school, so now she's mad that she can't come to every walkthrough on Friday. But the other thing is, it's just about being 1-0 every day. The biggest thing I tell coaches all the time is, don't ask your players to do something you're not willing to do yourself. You know what I mean? And even with your staff. So I talk about being 1-0. That's all we talk about. 1-0. I don't focus on tomorrow. We focus on right now. We focus on what we got to do today to be the best version of ourselves and be the best that we can. So, like, perfect example, I'll go through a day with you. If I have a 9 o'clock class, well, I'm up at 7:30 and I'm in the cafe at 8 a.m. getting a good meal. That's being 1-0. Coach, I'm struggling in math a little bit, communicating. That's being 1-0. You got to be able to communicate. Biggest thing for young males today is, can they communicate? So we got to work on that. We have to teach how to communicate. That's being 1-0. Hey, I have a 3 o'clock lift. I better make sure I get a good protein shake in me beforehand. I'm making sure I got the right shoes, everything. That's being 1-0. You got me? It's all about being 1-0. Hey, I got study hall at 6:30 tonight. I need to make sure I have everything good. That's being 1-0. All we talk about is little opportunities just to be 1-0. And then when you go to bed at night, 9:30, 10 o'clock, it resets the next day. See, the thing is that if you focus on 10 games, you're not going to win one of them. You got to focus on the minute little details, and that's all we talk about. The biggest thing you talk about at King's College is they're all about being 1-0. That's it. I mean, and the biggest thing is that, does it sound super simplistic? Yes, but let it be simplistic,
right?
Because that's what success is. You know what I mean? If you're gonna look at our success just as the end result, I said that's a problem. I mean, I always look at the process. Where is it in the process? And if you're not having great results, there's a break in the process. Where is that at in the process where the breakdown is? So it's all about process. One of the things that I find funny is, we don't really have this, but if I hear a parent said, well, you're pretty tough on them. Well, that's not really fair. You know what I mean? That's not fair. We have a standard here at Kings that we live by. Okay. And we try to strive we strive every single day to live by that standard. Okay. And the standard is to be 1-0. You got me? And these guys, they're all about it. And that's why we've been successful. You got me? If a kid talks to me about Thursday and it's Tuesday, I don't want to hear about it. Let's talk about today. What do we got to do today? So we literally are process driven in everything we do. And that's the standard we live by. Let's work the process. And as long as you work the process, everything will be all right.
Recruiting wise, how does that then shape what you're trying to get? Because obviously today's recruiting is vastly different from just even 5-10 years ago, right? Well, 2 years ago, it's vastly different from. So talk about what your recruiting kind of, I don't know if it's philosophy, but what your focus is, and what are you looking to do? Are you heavy high school? Is there a mix of transfer? How you pick and choose and certain things? Like what do you kind of focus on from that standpoint?
So it goes back to the old, it goes back to the process mindset. You know what I mean? I really love developing kids. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing today is I believe in transformational, not transactional. One of the biggest things for me is that, when I sit down with parents and I tell them, like, look, I was like, we're going to develop your son in every way. We're going to develop him mentally, physically, emotionally, and in the classroom. Okay. So when you come, we always say this, when they come in as an 18-year-old freshman, they're a boy. When they leave, they're going to be a man. So when I recruit guys, I look for guys that, can I develop them? Like, what's their ceiling like? I'll give you a perfect example is, our first team, all conference, all region D lineman, Xander Murray, he's out of Southern Regional. He's a Waretown, New Jersey kid. He was underdeveloped. He's taller kid, but, played linebacker, had a little hip, a little tight in the hips, but man, we saw everything there. We saw everything that we needed there. So he comes in, we develop his body, gets in with Coach Ross. We call it BBR, built by Ross, man. Our strength coach has got him cranked up. You know what I mean? Then we were able to develop him. Now he's an all-conference D lineman. And that's what I look for in recruits. I will say this, Kings isn't for everybody, but most of the guys love it here. And it's not a building. It's not a facility. It's the mindset, that blue collar, mindset. So when I look for recruiting, I look for guys. The biggest thing when I look at a film, and I tell guys this all the time, when I put on your film, I better see three things. The first one is effort in everything you do. I better see an effort play. I want to see effort. The second thing is I want to see something selfless, and one of the things that I really look for is there a special teams clip on a senior film? Because how many seniors in high school, I don't want to do special teams, right? Well, are you a team guy? You know what I mean? So I always look for a special teams clip. Or is he throwing a block? Or is he doing something that's selfless for the team? And the last thing, Coach, I look for guys having fun, man. I want to see the hooting and hollering. I want to see the celebrations. I want to see if somebody's making a play. There better be other guys, celebrating with them, because that's what you need, all right? Because football's hard. College football is very hard. It doesn't matter if it's Division I or Division III. It is a grind, okay? So you got to be able to have fun and get through that process. So when I look for recruits, you better give great effort, you better be selfless, and you better be having fun. We can take care of the rest. We can teach you how to tackle. We can teach you how to make a block. We can teach you how to catch. We can teach you how to do certain things. You got to bring those three things, and that's what I look for. And then I also rely on the head coaches a lot. I'm not a big Twitter guy, never been a Twitter guy. I don't really like to recruit off of Twitter. I call the head coaches. A perfect example, when I go, I call it the Parkway line. I give Coach Donahue a call. What do you got at Southern? Tell me about him. Before I even ask about anything else, I ask about character. Tell me about work ethic. Tell me about leadership skills. Tell me about, is he coachable? You know what I mean? Tell me about how many absences he has. These are all questions I ask before I even go up the line. You got me? Then I'll ask about grades, to make sure it's affordable. Every single coach I talk to asks that, you know what I mean? And then I'm honest with the kids. I go into high schools and, hey, where are the other guys at? We're not meeting with them today. So I rely on the head coaches because I feel the high school head coaches are the ones that worked with them to know if they're ready to go or not. Not just off of, there's a kid that can have a great highlight, but if he's not coachable, if he's not built in, if he's missing too many classes, if he doesn't have great character, if he's selfish, he's never going to make it. Mm-hmm. So I want guys that can make it, because at the end of the day is, we won the conference. You look at our roster, 31 of them were seniors. You know what I mean? So we developed all those guys, and you had time. So they got to be able to be guys that can be team oriented. You know what I mean? So I know I'm kind of long winded there, but that's what I look for. That's what I look for in a recruit, man. I want those kind of guys. You know what I mean?
Do you bring in transfers at all, or you stay heavily focused on high school?
We will bring in a transfer, but I'm mostly heavily on high school. One of the things is, we had a transfer. We brought in a transfer. Brian Kelly. He came in, but he understood it. You know what I mean? He was a senior. We had a major that he wanted that his other school didn't have. Right. So it's very far and few in between. We will listen. You know what I mean? But I'm more focused on the guys here. I want to water the grass where my feet are. I still believe, yes, I know. To me, I think it's very concerning to me about how the transfer portal is working and how people do it. To me, it's a very transactional time.
Right.
And I talk about, and I tell parents all the time, like, listen, I'm going to develop your sons in more ways than not. And I still believe that's where success is, because one of the things that I won't do is, you come in the fall and you didn't have a spring with us. You weren't grinding with the guys. There's something to be said, Coach, about grinding with your guys when the struggle is real, and it's 6 a.m. on a Friday, and it's heavy leg day Friday, and then Coach Ross has got you doing wall sits with 45-pound plates. Who can I count on 4th and goal at the 1? There's something to be said about that. You know what I mean? And so transfer wise, we'll listen. We'll look here and there. But I still believe, develop the guys. You know what I mean? Because your best players are guys that you develop through the system.
Do you deal with, when you go and recruit at the high school level, do you go in there, and have you found that some of the Division III coaches that we've talked with, and some very successful, have found that part of the process is hey, this is what we are. This is what our program is about. Because a lot of times they find themselves in a little bit of an uphill battle. So they want to make sure they get the right fit, because they're an uphill battle in the sense that if a kid's going to end up going to Division III, they're all obviously falling to Division III in their mind. Right. So as opposed to the majority of them don't say, hey, I'm going to be a Division III guy. And part of that is because of the transfer portal, especially at the higher levels, right? You're getting a better opportunity, a better player at the Division III level now. But some of those kids still, their head, it hasn't all changed over yet. It's not 6-7 years in, it's 2-3 years in, where there's still that mindset where they came through from high school, where there was going to be this large amount of opportunity potentially. That's changed at the higher levels, right? So you have an opportunity for a better player. How do you kind of do you see it, first of all? Do you see that at all with any of the players you talk with, or and how do you kind of shape that mindset if there's a kid that has a lot of questions about that kind of stuff?
So here's the biggest thing is I tell people this all the time, and I think this is key. One of the questions that parents, and I hope a lot of parents and players are listening to you, they don't ask Coach, how do you plan on developing me? What's my development look like? You know what I mean? How do you plan on, getting the best out of me, instead of saying, hey, I want to play right away? Well, is that really the best for you? Hey, Coach, I'm a Division II guy. I'm an FCS guy. Is that really the best for you? Are they going to develop you the right way? Those are the questions I ask every parent. Are
they even going to know your kid's on the roster?
Yeah. I tell every parent this. I sit down, every parent that walks on my campus, I sit down with their sons, and I sit there and say, this is the plan for you. And I go through step by step a developmental plan for them. Some kids are more developed than others, and I'm honest with that.
But you also ask that question to the head coach. And look, you've been around, the areas you recruit, the high schools you're going into, the programs and the coaches within that. That's part of the recruiting process, is to recruit guys from programs that have already been coached, developed. You understand what level of development they've gone through, what type of program they've gone through, right? And then that's how you can strategically know what buildings to walk into, or know what players from schools. You may go into schools just because of the pedigree of the reputation of that school, based off the coach or based off of the program, or like you said, the short conference of what it is. You can go and ask those guys what it is, because they've been developed, they've been coached, that level of it. That's a different level of recruiting that I don't think a lot of parents understand. They just think because they've played in high school, or they've had some success, or they've done whatever, that everybody is developed on a certain level. And that's just not the case. It's the reason that even, if you don't have a player potentially for college, that a coach comes into your building, right? They still make that stop, knowing most likely there's going to be someone within that building sooner or later that is on the level that I want to get. Or I can ask that coach about maybe a kid that played against him, and he's going to give me great feedback on, what you saw that kid, right? So I think that is a key factor when it comes to recruiting, that not every kid is developed the same, and you're all not going to start. I mean, look at any freshman class that you bring in. There are guys that may have quote unquote been the best player in that class, yet they're the least developed or understanding of what it is. It's just, measurables or natural talent or something of that nature, right? Where that coachability and what they know, it's huge.
Yeah. So one of the things that when I deal with some higher D3 kids, in a sense, like coming out of high school, I ask them all the time, are you a college football player or are you a Division I player? Like, you need to tell me, you know what I mean? And everybody hears D1. Oh man, you're D1, but is that better for you to sit on the bench
until you're a senior? Yeah. Like and that's what I tell the high school kids all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be the right fit in so many ways, but the one, standard non-negotiable is you got to go somewhere where you're wanted.
Yeah.
Right. Like, do you want to force the hand of an FBS coach or an FCS coach who's kind of on the fringe, is not really they're going to give you a PWO or, have you just come on are you really going to get a fair shot from that guy that you're kind of forcing your hand because you just want to play at an FBS level, where you could go to D3 and with a guy that absolutely loves you, is going to invest everything in you, develop you on and off the field? Like, that's the feel that you got to have or understand. And guys get so caught up in level and this and that and what football, not the actual football, but what football does for them, like that love of it. Like, you got to understand that that's like key.
One of the things that gets lost in this, and I think this is very key too, is, what about post football? 0.8% of people make it to football. So one of the things is, we're a smaller school, but our alumni track is huge.
Yeah.
So, the average salary walking out of our school is $70,000 a year. So you think about that right now, we have a 98% placement rate within 6 months of graduation. I just had 3 players. They're not even graduated yet. One's an engineering guy. He's already got a job offer, 6 figures walking out. I just had a kid last year, accounting major, walk out 6 figures. I mean, this is what I'm saying. So that gets lost too. Like, okay, you're going to play really good football, but you're telling me their alumni network is going to take you and have you set up for life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's huge too. And that's something we talk about as well. So going back to that, about those conversations is that I believe still to this day, you got to be transparent. Kids can see the BS, parents can see BS. You got to be fully transparent with these people. And you got to be honest. And I'm very honest with our coaches and players. And I tell our coaches the same thing. I tell our staff, just be honest. You know what I mean? If you see this kid, hey, we see you. We're going to develop you. You're recruitable. We love you here, but we're going to develop you. We think you got to develop a little bit. Like, just be honest with them. You know what I mean? Let them know, but just tell them that we love them. You know what I mean? And love them and then have a conversation with them. And that's where we're at. And we'll never tell a kid. I'm till this day we'll never tell a kid he's going to start. We're going to tell him every time. You term opportunity. Yeah. Everybody's got an opportunity. Yeah, you heard that term all the time. Here's the thing I tell our kids is that we don't give offers. We're committed to them. And that's the biggest thing is that you see, Division III schools that have an offer, I get it, but what are you offering? For me, it's like, I'm committed to the process with them. Because it is a process. So I tell a parent all the time, they're like, hey, is my son offered? No offense, but I'm 40 years old. I have 2 kids and a wife at home. You think I'm wasting my time? No, like, you're here for a reason. So right. I'm committed to them through the process because it is a process and you have financial aid, things of that. So I tell a kid, like, if you're sitting in my office, I'm committed to you and the process.
Yeah, and offered at the Division III. I don't know where this went off the rails. I don't know why. I guess it's the desire to look like you got a FCS or FBS offer for a lot of the kids, so they look better on social media or something.
They can post the picture and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's
write about it on X and
Like, to me, I always say, like, if you write that you've been offered at Division III level, I feel like you're just like posing. You know what I mean? That's what I look like. I think I like what you're saying. Like you're committed to them, and they're committed to you, and you obviously the Division III. There's still a lot more to the process. There's no like it's not like a signing day thing. You know what I mean? Like you have to go through financial aid, make sure
The
that it's the
numbers
right
work out. Yeah.
standpoint, right? That they have the major you want. There's a lot more in the process from Division III that happens after signing day, what was quote unquote signing day, right? Because there's still a lot of things, and at Division III, that's an important part of the process because figuring out financially what's the best fit for you. So when they go and do that stuff, and so many at Division III, I see this a lot more probably than anything else. Like, oh, I'm offered here, and then financial aid wise, it's not the right fit or whatever the deal was, right? And then they got like egg on their face because now 6 months later they're writing, I'm going here, right? Where they were so focused on this other stuff instead of just taking the time to figure out which program was the right fit and focus on this school offers me, this school offers me, this school offers me.
Yeah, not to cut you off, Coach, but like I thought you brought up a great point. So why I say committed to you through the process is here's a perfect example. We also recruit the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania very hard. And I had a player, right major for Kings. He was in the right major for Kings, very successful guys in the NFL, in the sports medicine field. Andres Armstrong's with the Detroit Lions, Brian Hicks with the University of Miami Hurricanes. So we've been successful in this field. And the kid wanted to come to Kings, but flat out wanted to. Unfortunately, what happened was there was a Division II school in the state of Pennsylvania, gave him a little scholarship, and the money part of it was, it was not as significant, but far enough apart. His high school head coach called me. He's like, Coach, like he really wants to come to Kings. The Division II school also had a really good program in sports medicine. I called the kid straight out and I said, listen, man, we love you, but it is in your best interest to go to that other school. And I told the kid straight out, and he's going to be a great player. But that's why I say an offer to me, I'm more committed to the player instead of, you're offered to come to Kings. No, I'm committed to you personally. And that's what I mean by that. And that's where it derives from, is an example like that, where I have a kid who, in all intents and purposes, if I was a scummy car salesman, man, come here, pay the extra. Yeah. And then have the extra debt. Nah, man, you need to go to that school, get an education, and you'll be fine. And that's what I mean by that. It is a process. And I still go by that. It is a process. When you do with it, you have financial aid, you have things that need to be done. So I truly believe that, when I talk to a parent or a kid, I say, I'm committed to you, means like, we're with you through this, no matter what. And that's what I mean by that, and there's a perfect example of what I mean. We got to a point in the process where it's just, hey man, you got to take this opportunity.
Right.
And the player got on with me. He's like, Coach, but I want to come to Kings. I said, I know, dude, if something doesn't work out, and I always say that I leave the door open.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, man,
of course.
Yeah,
you never burn a bridge.
Hey, thanks for recruiting. I said, if something happens, give me a call. You know what I mean? But it was in the best interest at that time in the process for him to go to that school. And he's doing well. We have a great relationship. You know what I mean? There's a head coach in the Shore Conference, Ocean County, have a great relationship with him. His son went to another school. Yeah, I mean, I still wish his son a happy birthday. I recruited him hard as well. And he's like, man, Coach, those are the little things that keep you going with recruiting is those little things. Like, yeah, he didn't come to Kings, but that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I still have that tie. You know what I mean?
But because you've continued to keep that relationship with him, he may now go and tell one of his buddies or somebody asking him in the direction of like, hey man, if you're looking for a spot, like this is the spot. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I think is just always, it's one of those things. Like I was raised that way. Right. But that was a really hard conversation to have with college guys that had recruited you and had literally called you every week for weeks, to have that conversation and be like, hey, I'm going a different direction, Coach. And some of those guys were pricks about it, and some of them were extremely cordial and awesome. And I mean, it was a really hard thing as a high school kid to do that, right? But to those guys that kept those relationships, I mean, yeah, I didn't go to your school, but I could still message you and you're going to answer and not blow me off. And some of those guys have become mentors in the coaching field for me, where I still talk to some of these guys and, you know, where they're at now and whatnot. And especially now with the way the transfer portal is, like, hey man, you might be making that decision, but you don't know what's going to happen 2-3 years down the road. Like, I'm always here if you need something. And a lot of those guys will come back because it's just the nature of the beast right now.
Yeah, and that's one thing, you know, we have a couple kids in the transfer portal that, you know, obviously think they, you know, shown up and did enough, and I have conversations with them. The one thing about Division III is you always have to re-recruit your class. You know what I mean?
Yeah, buddy.
To re-recruit them. But I'm honest with them, and I talked to a player the other day, and I just told him, I said, look, like I said, I understand that you feel this way. I said, but you still need to develop. You need us yet, and I tell him that. I said, look, like you still need us. And we need you, and that's the way I do business, and that's the way we do business at King's College. Is, you know what I mean? And I feel that's probably been our best way of doing it, is just making sure that we're all bought in on the players. If you're not bought in on the players, there's a problem. You know what I mean? You got to be loyal to people, and that's huge. And I feel that, you know, the players feel that way, and we try to get the most out of them. So,
absolutely, I think that's. It's an important part. It's always part of the process, and I think that's a thing that players have to, you know, do more. Continue to do a good job of educating themselves as to what each level's process is, and not treat one level like it's a different level. Like to understand what the important things are when you're getting recruited at one level or the other. And know what that level requires, right? Because and then, I mean, I think what Derek said about, you know, going where you want is an important thing, but it's important to also important to know that what level you really are at. Like if certain schools are not coming to talk to you, certain level of schools, then you have to realize that you're at a different level, right? And that's just a reality. One of the good things about the transfer portal is, I say this, is like, hey, you know what? You go to King's College, you go and have 80 receptions, 1,500 yards, and you're now so good. I'm sure Coach Cebrosky would be very upset to lose you because you're dominating. But we'll also be excited for you if you really were that good, and that another school would really be at the Division I level wanted you, right? So it's and it looks. I always say it looks good also on a Division III program, because then those high school players will be more likely to go there. And on the academic side of Division III, like Johns Hopkins has done a great job at that. Like and they've done a really nice job of that. And I think you guys have done a really good job of that in the last 10 years of really being a place that kids know they can go and get better and develop. And it's, you know, it's usually going to be 4 years, but every once in a while there's a guy that is that person. And
there's no doubt, Coach, not to cut you off, but yeah, we've had a player who played for us, and he developed. I mean, he was, you know, fat, you know, he's had some fat on him, and then he developed. And long story short is, you know, he was, you know, financially, he was awarded a scholarship that, you know, made it very, very affordable for him to go to school. And, you know, I said, hey, I understood the situation. And that goes back to the committed to you process.
Right.
He was awarded a very good scholarship, and, you know, he's doing well. I mean, is he getting as much playing time as he would like? No, but
right,
that's
sure.
part of the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, so it worked out well for him, and I'm happy for him. I talked to him. You know, he came on his bye week. He came to a game this year, and, you know, I saw him. I still, you know, bust his chops a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah, I got it. And once again, it goes back to transparency. The only thing I ask for players is, you know, one of the things that we have to develop with players is communication. You know, the miscommunication or the lack of communication. You know, I still believe the phone is the best way in talking. And so,
yeah,
you know, there's some conversations that, you know, we need to teach them. And I always tell players, like, if there's something, you got to just be able to talk so that we can solve something. So, you know, he was very open about it. I was very open about it, and it worked out well for both of us. You know what I mean? You know, and we still have a great relationship. So.
No doubt, no doubt, and that makes a big difference. Before we let you go, I was just curious, like how you guys approach your practices, like what your kind of your philosophy is as far as from that standpoint, um, and how you approach that part of the program.
Well, so one of the things that I look for is, I want to be efficient as possible. I don't like to waste time. The days of, 3-hour practices doing like
Yep.
you have to have this many reps and everything, those days are done for us. You know what I mean? We want to be fast, efficient. The one thing that I like to start off every day, and Coach Mickey Raring, our DC, brought this with him, is we start every day with high five. So at 6:25, no footballs are on the field. We practice at 6:30 a.m.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you said 6:25 right away. I was like, oh, a.m.s. Okay, yeah, because you had it in the morning. Interesting.
Well, the thing is that I hang my hat on how good we are academically, and I hang my hat on how good we are with our graduation rate. So we practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings at 6:30 a.m. We have a full snack room for the guys, so they're getting plenty of food in them, and then it allows us, so like all those guys that are in engineering, sports medicine, when they have those labs in the afternoon, it doesn't conflict with practice. So 6:25, man, we do a high five with your group. So every day it's just high five. Like they get the guys and be like, hey, we'll talk about practice, what we're expecting, what periods we got, and just to get the guys going. And it also allows our coaches to see kind of mentally where the players are that morning. You know what I mean? Hey, coach, like so-and-so, like, hey, Dave Schumann's down today. He just seems a little out of it. Okay, well, let's monitor. Hey, D. Pascal's fired up today. Like, he's going to have a good practice. You know what I mean? Right. So that high five period, we get like, not only do we get to see the guys mingle a little bit and just joke around and talk about that, but we also
talks to who, you know what I mean? You got your clicks within that team all the time. You know what I mean?
But we get to, the best one are Tuesday mornings after a Monday night football game. We got a couple Jets fans on our team, you know what I mean? Yeah, so we like to, those poor guys, or when the Yankees lost, that was, the Phillies guys are giving it to the Yankee fans, and then Phillies lose, the Yankee guys are giving it to them. So it's just that camaraderie, that first 5 minutes. And then we go right into a huge stretch, you know what I mean? Full stretch. Fire them up, get going. And then the biggest thing I start with is some sort of competition drill, something, you know what I mean? I like to take, the big orange cup balls that we have, like they have to push it against each other, one-on-ones. We might do a 4th and goal at the 5, one receiver, DB out there, something along the lines of get the guys juiced up for practice. Like, let's get moving. There are times where I spot the ball. It's third and 2 from the 6. So there's an opportunity to get a first down, and it's 1st and goal, you know what I mean? And then we're out of there in 4 plays. But that does is that makes my coaches think on their feet. You know what I mean? So I'm also developing, I got to coach the coaches a little bit and develop them. So we're always going to start something with some sort of competition, and then we do a special teams period, what I call a specialist period, where we get our punters, kickers, long snappers ready to go. We get all the, return guys ready to go. We'll work some sort of skill with, the punt guys, the kickoff return guys, do something there. And then we're in the Indy. Every Tuesday and every Wednesday, our team run period or inside run period, it's ones versus ones. I don't care. I don't care the scheme. I don't care. It's ones versus ones, good versus good, iron sharpens iron. You're going to block counter differently. Yeah, you're going to block zone differently a little bit, but it's really not different. You know what I mean? There's still something to be said about running the ball and stopping the run. And then we mix some, we'll mix some RPO stuff in there, keep it legit when we go team run, so they're not all focused in on it. You know what I mean? Right. I always want to do that. So we're always going to have a good versus good period. Always. You know what I mean? I tell people this all the time. In 2024, not even 2 years ago, the best periods of the year were done on Tuesday and Wednesday at 7:10 a.m. all week long. Those were the toughest periods for us that year. You know what I mean? And that's what we want. You know what I mean? And then we go into, you have some other things, and then we're done by 8:15 every day. You know what I mean? Right. You know what I mean? And then we have walkthrough on barrels and things of that nature. And then Thursday's kind of a polish and shine Thursday, a heavy special teams day, and then, heavy team day. And then Friday's just a walkthrough from 3 to 4. And then Saturday we play our game in. So the way I do it is, this goes back to the 1-0 mindset. And I'll go back to this, like Mondays we don't practice, but I say it's called Tell the Truth Monday. So how we measure are we 1-0 on Monday is tell the truth. Put the film on. tell the truth to each other. Like, well, are we doing the right things? You know what I mean? Like, go over the game. Are we telling the truth? You know what I mean? And then what we have is on Tuesdays is what we have is competition Tuesday. Are we being competitive? I want to see that. You know what I mean? So that's how we measure that. And then Wednesdays is create turnover Wednesday. All right. Defense, we got to create turnovers. You know what I mean? In offense, no turnovers. And then there's a radio station in Pennsylvania called they call it No Repeat Thursdays. So they don't repeat a song on Thursdays. So we don't want to repeat a play. So on Thursdays, we better have no repeat Thursdays. That's our goal. That's how we want to know. Do we have to repeat any plays? Do we have to repeat any coverage? No repeat Thursdays. Polish and shine Friday, and then play fast Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then we call it rest and relaxation Sunday. Are you resting? Are you relaxing? Are you recovering? The triple R. Rest, relax, recover. So those are the ways that goes back to the 1-0 mindset. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how our week goes.
No, it makes a lot of sense. That's really good. It's the theme of like getting them efficient and moving fast and compete. And I think just goes so far with the athletes, and especially today, it keeps them engaged, keeps them going to high level. So it's been great having you on and talking some football. What you're doing there is phenomenal. You in a very short time period have had a lot of success, and I'm sure that'll only continue to grow in the future, Coach. Really, really great having you on today.
Guys, coaches, I appreciate all your time, and it's fun to get on here and chop it up and talk some ball and everything that goes with it. You know what I mean? And like I tell people all the time, it's the game is the game. It's the things around the game that make the game special. And, it's always good to talk about it. And I hope, parents are listening, and I hope, players are listening and they take something away from it. You know what I mean? So
no doubt about it. And yes, they definitely are listening. They definitely are.
Yeah.
We get a lot of feedback on it. So it's great having you on, Coach, and wish you the best. Happy New Year as well. And hopefully this new year continues to bring you a lot of success.
I appreciate it. And Coach Derek, man, I wish you nothing but the best for you and your wife with your newborn coming. And
thanks, buddy.
I hope you have the coffee machine ready to go.
Oh, we're good. Talk about no sleep every day of the week, right? Like, yeah. That's the focus. But I appreciate you taking the time, buddy. It's always good to talk to you when I see you on the road. It's just you've built something. You continue to build something off of what that foundation is, and like I said, it's always a great opportunity to sit down and talk with you, buddy. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. When I stop back into the Ocean County area, man, we'll hit up and we'll talk some more ball.
That's it, buddy. You let me know. What we can do.
So, all right. So appreciate it, gentlemen. Have a great day.
Thanks, buddy. We'll talk soon.
All right.
See you, man.
Coach. See you. That was great. Good stuff. Very good stuff.
Yeah, man, he's got it's a niche, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be a niche for those types of places, right? Especially for what it is, where it is. Look, I've sent players there. They love it. Like, not just himself. Like, they love the school. They love how it's close-knit and sports matter, right? It's a good academic school. It's not so far off the beaten path, you know what I mean? Where guys, it's easily accessible and for what it is. But for what he's done in a short period of time, when it comes to like the actual winning of games and that type of stuff, like this, like you said, this is the best run Kings has ever had. And it's, you can see why. It's like, I love that, like, when he touched on, like, it's about us, like, you know what I mean? It's not about bringing in transfers. Like, we're still going to develop and take guys from, take guys from freshman year to senior year. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we've heard a couple guys when it comes to that. I think
Division 3, each place is different. So
100%
where you need that will work. There are places probably that it wouldn't work as well. It really depends on what your school is like. Obviously there are places where you're going to have more transfers than others, but
right.
And you're going to build your program from that too. So it's interesting though. It's really it's interesting to see the different places and what works for them.
Or how guys want to approach it. You know what I mean? Like, it's that too. Like, he's a cut and dry, no bullshit type of here's what it is. I'm going to sit down with this guy. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. If that's not what you're looking for, all right, then you know what I mean? Like, we'll go our own ways. And look, if something ever changes, let me know. You know what I mean? Like, he ain't trying to sell shit. It is what it is. And like, either come here and, get developed and work and get better. And, here's what we have to offer. They lay it out. Like, we didn't even get into it, but, I heard him go through the whole thing of like their, how they do their, sticker, like what it's going to cost and all that. Like, they have a great setup there, cause you look at it sticker price and that, takes some people's breath away for what it is, but the way they work it and how it, they maneuver things and find the right grants and packages and stuff like that. Like, you're paying very little up front, but there's nothing in the back end of like, hey, gotcha, like now you're coming out of school with this. And it's like, that's not how they do it, but that goes back to his relationship with the president and the VP and like the school itself. They've worked that through to make it work for guys to get more kids in the building. You know what I mean? That maybe, 5-10 years ago when he wasn't there, that's not the case,
Bigger picture. So now today, do you go to the hospital tomorrow
morning?
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yep. Tomorrow morning. And,
unless you have a water break or something like that.
Yeah, unless something happens, from now until then. But other than that, we'll be walking in the building tomorrow morning and rock and roll.
Wow. Very on schedule, huh?
Hey, buddy. Like, it's the OCD that always has to be.
No, I'm saying it's like sometimes there's
it's not that like when you think about it, like you're just sitting around like, oh shit, like grab your stuff. Like, it's not that chaotic scene of whatever. Like, my bag's been packed for a week in case we've had to go, because with the first one it was scheduled on a certain date and the day before it happened. You know what I mean? So I've been ready for that window and whatnot. But
you excited? Yeah. I'm sure you're excited.
Yeah, I'm pumped, but it's also like 9 months is a long time to be, you know what I mean? Like, all right, like time has come. Like, let's get it on the road and like let's see what this entails now with 2,
Number 2.
I know, buddy.
Is your daughter excited?
She's juiced, right? Like, and now I think she grasps it somewhat, but I don't think she really gets it. You know what I mean? She's 2.5, so she's changing dolls and saying, "Mommy, I'm gonna help when Carter comes and whatever," and like she gets Carter. Carter Thomas. So
okay.
Look, another part that's like planned out, ready to go.
Significance to that? Any significance?
Thomas is my father-in-law's name. So Avery has my middle name, right? Which obviously goes back to my grandfather. That was his name, Ray. So Avery got my side, right? Carter will get her side a little bit. That way, how Carter, that way nobody's pissed off. That way nobody's pissed. Carter was just one that we like.
Name you like.
Yeah, right. Like that. Like if Avery was a boy, it would have been Carter. So.
Okay.
The wife gets happy she's happy because she gets the name she wants, and I'm good with
That's
it. Whatever.
Good.
We'll rock. Whatever makes this thing as smooth as possible. But
whatever makes it smooth.
For whatever can be defined as smooth in a very not smooth process of what it is, because we know how healthcare works. But it'll be interesting. Last one was a summer baby. This one's a winter baby.
Jersey Shore Medical or
right in Red Bank.
Oh, you go to Red Bank. You go up here.
Run right on the water, buddy. I mean, listen, it's like they have a great what is that? I don't know. Whatever.
I know the wing,
the baby department or whatever that is
right.
Like it's a whole, you know what I mean? And she's comfortable with it because that's where her doctors work out of. It's the same doctor that delivered Avery, so there's a lot of familiarity.
And that's where Avery was too.
Yeah, Avery was there too. So it's a nice setup. They do a really good job. So
that is cool, man.
Amen, buddy.
Excited. That's exciting.
It's wild. It's wild.
Boy, now you're gonna go.
I know. Now it's a different level.
Super kind, loving dad.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I'd be like, "Are you serious, buddy? Like, really? Like, you didn't work out this morning? Like, you didn't work out? Like, what yeah.
Are you just gonna play Roblox all day long?
All day, right? Like, that's great. You built that Lego in 10 minutes, but like, buddy, we gotta move a little bit.
Hours? that, that, and by the way, every dad deals with it. It's not,
it's dude. Listen,
it's like okay, so a half-hour workout, we get a hard, or even an hour practice. We have a hard time about that. But 9 hours straight of
right,
Roblox,
and that's okay. Like that's okay.
that's pretty fine. So you should be an all-pro Roblox player by now.
Correct. Like where's your income? Where's your
First
income?
team Roblox. There should be a Roblox championship you should be a part of because you've been training for it every day, 7 days a week.
Every day.
I mean, you're putting in 60-hour weeks at Roblox, But it's funny. Oh man, I got to go.
Hey, a little off that path. I did have one thing. Do you think? Obviously, we've seen so many of these NFL guys get let go this week.
Oh yeah,
so what is the best job on the market right now? Oh. Is it the Ravens? Is it the Giants? Is it the Titans? I like what? Stefanski is supposed to be interviewing today because there was about 50,000 pictures of him in Newark Airport, right? Showing up, but every team I believe has reached out to Harbaugh right away.
Harbaugh will go somewhere.
I mean, what's crazy is I didn't realize how many years he was with the Ravens. Like 18 years. Shit. The Ravens have only had 3 head coaches.
Sometimes you that long.
100%. Sometimes you just need a different
voice.
But you know what? But the switch up to stability, right? Like the same things with like when the Steelers were questioning Tomlin, right? And then he goes and makes the playoffs.
Still be in trouble?
But if that's switched, right? If the Ravens had beat the Steelers, is it the other way and Harbaugh gets retained and Tomlin's out?
I would say possibly, yeah. I think if Harbaugh lost in the first round, if he made the playoffs, he might be out too. Just because,
I'll tell you what, though, if Harbaugh does go to the Giants, if he does go to the Giants, like I think I will start to almost be somewhat of a Giants fan because I
think if he goes to the Giants, I think the Giants will have success pretty quickly,
immediately.
If
like they're a playoff team next year.
If the Giants were smart, they would hire him,
100%. But he's older.
I know, but you don't need. So my philosophy on Harbaugh would be, we don't need him to be here for 10 years.
No,
we need him to get. We need to get the Giants back to being the Giants, even if it's 5 years, right? And he retired.
Aren't you a Cowboys fan though?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
The Cowboys is just.
They fired their DC, so 4 DCs in 4 years.
Cowboys.
I know. Listen, you could be the Raiders.
Supposedly he's interviewing for Giants too, right?
Who?
McCarthy,
I believe, is set up. So Stefanik, McCarthy, Harbaugh. So they're definitely trending on the older track.
No.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, what the fuck is young though? Because like you're talking about what's his name? You're talking about what's his name with the with Seattle is still in his 30s. I mean, shit, McVay is still only what? Where do the Raiders go, dude? Like, oh my god. The Raiders are paying. Did you see that stat that the Raiders are paying over $50 million in coaching fees of guys that aren't even in the building anymore?
Oh my god! I don't want to get. I just got a text.
I know. Oh god.
Nothing bad. Just
UConn making some moves though.
UConn. A lot of places are. Yeah. I mean, everyone's making moves. You know what I mean? Like. Basically, Penn State is now Iowa State.
Did you see that? How many guys have jumped on that roster? I think what was it? 19? I think it was like 19 players. Hey, I know this is like a spot of contention, but I think the same thing is going to happen as soon as Ole Miss loses.
Could be.
Ole Miss, LSU. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean it depends.
World. It's a wild world, dude. Kyle, it is a wild world, Dave. Like from coaches movement to player movement to NFL to NC, like to college. I mean, we still playing college football, by the way. Like, there's still games left. Like, we still have a quarter. We still have a semifinal game and a national championship. You know, like, this is still all happening. While I would love to see how staffs are handling, like, the real behind the scenes of hosting transfers for visits right now, teams back on campus getting starting winter workouts. Like, if you're one of those 4 teams still playing, how are you juggling and managing all of that schedule? Like, what do you do? Like, how much is game prep? Like, is it still in season mode? I think this is why now, like, you have so many guys on staff. Hey, these guys are handling recruiting. These guys are coaching. These guys are handling, like, man, I'm telling you, if you don't have those, like, those other staff guys to handle all that shit, dude, like, holy hell, I can't even imagine. Plus, you have staff turnover. What if you're like a new guy in the building? Like, oh, okay, here we go.
He said it's literally it's high paid youth sports.
You got the third, the third string center
right?
is pissed because he's not getting paid what his buddy's getting paid. Yeah, like,
they're gone.
Go talk to the GM.
I mean, shoot, people who now reclass in high school people reclass when they're younger, but then they get to reclass again in college because you can stay there forever. So you could get like double.
You just go JUCO, practice and not count, and have
3 class forever, and then start whatever.
How about so I'll reference this because it's local.
Not that I care.
Within the Shore Conference. So Jalen Matthews, right, offensive lineman, portal. He's leaving Florida State, and this is after he had already been to Rutgers.
He left Rutgers in season.
Left Rutgers in August, and now he's going to leave Florida State. And I don't know how much truth it is, but or whatever it is, because you just hear things to hear things. But
did he play at Florida State this year?
I don't think he played. I don't even think he played. But I hear his landing spots are possibly Texas A&M or Mississippi State. So originally committed to Penn State, never got there, decommitted, committed to Rutgers, on campus for a week, 2 weeks, leaves, plays a season or goes through a season at Florida State, portal, and now still has an opportunity to go to an SEC school from the ACC.
Linemen have a lot of cards if they're
linemen
good.
Have, and this is what they
might have the most cards.
I've been trying, unless you're, I would say 100% in agreement, unless you're the highest of the high level QBs, the QBs, right? The QBs kind of have some leverage, but I think offensive linemen,
really good if they're really good. Yeah, I guess QBs. It depends. I think
numbers wise,
like money has tremendous leverage. They have all the leverage.
And look at these guys, right? Like the
backup QB,
not so much. If you're gonna now, if you're looking for playing time, I think you have leverage, right? But if you're looking for money, I think you have to be really, really good.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Linemen, I think opportunity to kind of get on a level that maybe you wouldn't be at if you weren't a lineman, I think is amazing right now.
No doubt.
You could be a FCS lineman right now, and you can go and be the third string center on it, and they'll. I mean, look, another reference here.
Our star line, almost all of our star linemen from UConn's were transfers in, who were backups,
and that's what it is. 100%, and they
were awesome. They were awesome.
Kid from Point Borough, Cole Skinner, right, went to South Florida, graduated in 4 years, transitioned from guard or tackle to center, right? Like, he finishes, graduates, head coach leaves, go to Auburn. Well, guess what? I'm in the portal. Guess where he visited the other day? Auburn. Got 1 year of eligibility. Sure, buddy. You come with me. I'll pay you this for 1 year before you get ready for the draft. Like, I know what you can do.
The older they get, the better they get, up until they get too old, like old.
Correct. Or if you have injuries on your, you know what I mean? Like, you've always been a banged up guy. But I just think that and look, we both know, like, and this is the flaw, like a quarterback, but like, if you're not good up front, like, you ain't doing shit. So you build from the O-line outward, right? Or D line, like back. That's
You can
how I
get
always
running
looked at it.
backs. You can get receivers. You can get running
You can
backs.
you can find
I'm
like you
not
can
saying
throw a
you
rock
get
and hit.
the elite guy makes a difference, obviously, but you could get guys
Of
to fill
course.
roles in those
Absolutely.
positions.
Yep. But if you have that O-line room that's locked in, dude. That's why I think your third hire is an O-line coach.
If you had a kid, like if someone has a kid and he's really, really like a gigantic kid.
Imagine a kid that you actually pushed and wanted to be a lineman, because none of them want to play it.
I'm saying like a gigantic kid who
They
is
all want to be a
big,
running back or a tight end.
who does it really, yeah, he does, like he's big, he has decent athleticism, but he's not gonna be a skill guy for you.
Right.
But he's big and he's tall, but and he's kind of like in shape, but he's just not like I would immediately be like, yo, we're gonna
That's
make
what
you
you're playing, buddy.
as you can be. Like you can't catch a ball for whatever reason.
Right.
And we're gonna make you as athletic as you can be, get you a strong, athletic, and get your technique as good as you can, learn leverage, and you're gonna have
and just own it and be like, I'm a lineman. You know what I mean?
6'4" and you're put together pretty good, you know.
Fair at best. Like you can,
guy, as long as you can
they'll
move.
get you where you need to be, as long as you can move. And with that goes back to my
thing is like take any big kid that just got terrible hands, right? But he's not a bad athlete. But he like as soon as you see him and he's like, I want to be a tight end, and the ball hits him in the face, and so like yeah, you could develop him. I get it. But like I would be like, yo, like you have decent feet, man. You're built pretty good. You're big. You just aren't like as athletic as these guys over here, hands wise. Go play O-line, dude.
Here's the thing too, and look, like we had like two of our guys from Mount Olive, right? Both
I think that way a tight end too. I think
both Division I college linemen, right? Recruited because they were the starting center in basketball. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's why they got offers. Not because like they saw a big body and then they're like,
I know his parents, and he used to go to St. Leo's. He's in 6th grade, and his parent, I'm sure they're not like from the football realm of it, but the mother's like 6'1", the father's like 6'2", 6'3". The kid is 6 feet already at 6th grade. And now maybe he's going to be extremely, extremely tall. Then I would say, okay, play basketball, no doubt. But
I just know those guys played basketball because they were athletic, dude. You know what I'm saying? And then
this kid
the college coach coming,
we couldn't stop him.
But not a football guy.
No, because he doesn't come from a football background. But we couldn't stop him, and he's I'm telling you, like he's not just tall. Like I was surprised. I hadn't seen him in 2 years. He transferred out. He was big, dude. Like not like big, like heavy. Like
no. Like just like
strong. Like my head just kept going. You know what? Unless if he's 6'10", okay, I get it. If he ends up, well, he might be. He's already 6 feet in 6th grade, right? So maybe he is going to be.
Yeah, because 6 feet
in 6th grade. That's
6'4" is Oh, hell yeah.
That's really tall. So maybe he is going to be that tall, and then he should be a basketball guy. But I in my head immediately is like, if this kid just caps out at like 6'6", like he should 100%. He would be the greatest left tackle. He moves good. He moves like, you know what I'm saying?
And you know he's got hands because he can catch the ball. You know what I mean? Like, you know those guys have hands.
He had hands, dude. Like he had hands. So I was shocked because a couple of years ago when he was a younger kid, he was kind of like he was trying to find his niche. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which a lot of those guys do. And it's just.
But he looked awesome. And he was angry. He played angry, dude. My head was just going. She was talking to Nicole all the time. I wanted to be like, you know, maybe he should play football too. I wanted to say,
buddy.
he was tough. I was like, man.
I also think it comes
that my football brain just started going in overload.
Right. of why those guys, and look, we've been trying to find a secret sauce for how many years now, right? For those guys to develop and be and want to be linemen, right? It's hard because, they don't have flag or 7-on-7 of lineman stuff. They can go do those things, but then they want to be a skill guy because you're catching the ball, you're having fun, right? Like there needs to be some off-season thing for linemen to
I'm
do.
trying to push that.
Buddy, I'm just saying, like, it's just there's no like you can't. I don't. It's just it's the secret sauce, dude. Like they need something to be like, hey, I get to go right. You can only do so much. It's like, oh, we're training, but it's like, dude, you're in shorts and a t-shirt, or you're only hitting a bag, or you're just lifting, and it's like you can do a one-on-one competition or a big man competition, but like, what is that? It's not the same as a 7-on-7 tournament or a flag league or something. Like it's just it's like, what can we do?
No, you're right. Listen, there's a kid in your town that's the 6th grader that I think is awesome too.
Yeah, dude, there's a couple.
He's a center too, and he's at a Catholic school.
Yeah, well, listen, if they're tracking that way, like,
but
100%.
The kid is Derek. I'm telling you, this kid is an athlete. He's not as big as the other kid I'm talking about, but
who is? Like that kid's the rarity.
No one's as big as that kid. But this kid is probably, I would say 5'6" in 6th grade, which is big, right?
That is big.
But he
because what's Troy, and he's big for his grade.
Troy's 5'1".
Right, and Troy's like probably one of the taller in his class or in his group.
I know this kid's going to be big. The kid that I saw, because his father's 6'6".
I was just going to say, what are his parents?
Dad was
it's just
6'6".
like looking at. I just went
like this. As the game was going on, we played him twice now. As the game was going on, I always scan when I just scan. I say, "Can I figure it out?"
You're like, yep. And then after
the game,
I
just
when he
watched
goes over, it's like, where's he going?
React.
There you go.
I was watching him react. I'm like, there he is. And
You're
then
like, there he is.
Walked out. Nicole's like, how did you know? He walked out with him after. I was like, see, I told you. I was like, man, I've been doing this so long. I looked at his face. I looked at the father's face, and I'm like, who else is producing that kid?
Right.
Not that many people are producing that kid, right? Like it's just like if you saw my kid come running over next to me, you'd be like, oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I get it. Oh, Raheem Morris is interviewing for the Giants too.
Because he played at Hofstra.
Yeah, I think he's an Irvington guy.
Did I play against him in college, or was he a little bit after, maybe?
But this would be his 3rd head coaching gig, right? Because wasn't he was young with the Bucks.
You know who else might get let go? Todd Bowles.
See, I always think Tampa's a great job because it's just Florida. I always think Tampa's a great spot.
I think that's what makes it a harder job. I also think that's what makes Miami a hard job.
Miami, I mean, look, Miami said I just read an article today. They reached out to Harbaugh, and McDaniel's still the head coach. He's probably like, look, can I just be the OC and stay down here in Miami and live my life, and then somebody else can go handle all this bullshit? Like, somebody else go tell Tariq Hill to stop being an asshole. Like,
he just wants to wear fitness gear to practice.
He just wants to wear
athleisure. What do you call it? Athleisure.
Athleisure.
He loves the athleisure, dude. He's the athleisure
with the like the capri pants, right? That are like way too short, like just chilling. He just wants short.
I bought 3 of those because I wanted to see. Like, I got them cheap on the TikTok shop.
Yeah,
and I was like, I want to see what this stuff is like.
I like it.
And I was like, oh wow, it's pretty comfortable actually. It doesn't feel like you're wearing anything.
No,
really.
I mean, look, the days of khaki, quote unquote, hard pants, right, and a polo on the sideline, dude. Guys wear whatever now.
Well, the pants, they all wear athleisure pants. I see.
But even guys, Dave, even
strength coaches are wearing tight this, tight that.
Even basketball coaches, right, where it used to be the full suits, like. Yeah. Not so much anymore. COVID crushed that, where guys are out there in polos and doing all that kind of shit. Like,
what does he wear?
Hurley, I think, is still mostly a suit guy or like a polo guy.
Is he? I can't.
Yeah, just I think some of those guys. Look, I think kind of like
Izzo must still be a suit. I actually love the basketball coaches are the best to interview. The
Dude.
best interviews are the basketball coaches. They say whatever the fuck they want.
They don't give a shit, bro.
None of them, dude. The NC State guy, Hurley, Izzo.
Izzo's been going on it. Calipari, like they don't give a shit.
From Houston, he goes on rants. Yeah, Calipari, Patino. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Patino has a lot of content, and I don't even think Patino understands that he's creating content just because it's, you know what I mean? Like, same with Calipari. I don't think those guys have any concept of that world, but, you know, because it used to be, right? Like, you say something, hey, your quote's in the paper, right? It took at least 24 hours or a couple hours for that print to come out and people to actually read it. Now they say something in an interview, and that shit's viral before they even finish the interview.
It's unbelievable. Well, they're trying to fight off. Most of them are trying to fight off NBA players coming into college. That's really what most of them are trying to fight off. That's their first move. It's less the transfer portal. It's more we don't want,
because for the most part, I mean, you look at Patino, he's openly come out and said, I'll never recruit another high school kid ever. Like done. Like I'm just gonna go to the portal and pay. And I'm gonna pay guys, and we're done. Like, not that basketball hasn't been paying guys since, you know, O'Bannon with UCLA in 96 or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like, the movie Blue Chips was made for a reason. Like, you know what I'm saying, dude? Like, so that's been a whole different thing. But like, it is what it is, man. Like, it is what it is. It's crazy though. It is a freaking wild.
They are
world.
my favorite. Like, once you get in that algorithm, when you start to watch something.
Oh, now
I'm in the basketball coaches algorithm for some reason because I love their quotes and I watch them all. And I just think they're hilarious. They are so hilarious. You know what I also thought was great? Did you see Kim Mulkey when she took Lane Kiffin onto the court? I was like, what, they dated? Like, like Kim Mulkey show, she's a trip. She's a trip. She got him on like
she's wild.
Like, wild, dude. She was a great player back in the day.
Phenomenal.
Did you ever pull up any old clips of her? She was
she's a stud. Did you also see that the guy Josh Niblett, who used to be the head coach at Hoover, was at Gainesville, is now he resigned, he stepped down, and he's going to coach with Dion
in Colorado? It's like his OC or just as a position coach, I guess.
I don't know. There wasn't specification of what he's going to do, but you know, people are like, really and then the guy from Grayson is now going to go take the Gainesville job, and people are like, well, why would he do that? Well, Josh Niblett was making 175.
Wow.
And apparently the guy at Grayson was making 70. So yeah, but it's like, okay.
Dion has been laying low lately.
Yeah, I think something's up medically.
You haven't heard
like
anything.
I think he's sicker than he leads on, and like I think he's got some stuff going on, and I don't know. I just think, look, remember, everything dies out, right? When it's a shiny new penny, it's this. Everything he does is whatever. Now it's kind of like, is this gonna work? I don't really. Has he had how much success has he really had? Like, how much longer is he gonna like do it or going into?
Turns out that obviously Shedeur and Travis were that good.
And I know, 100%. And I know, like, they got, like, Colorado got a new athletic director. You know what I mean?
They did. Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, that could be that could change things.
Definitely. I mean, we've seen that happen firsthand. What happens when an AD hires you and then another AD comes in?
Because everybody just has their own, like,
right? They want their own people.
Come in with their own mindset of what they want when they take in the job. And very few of them want to deal with someone that is not on board with them per se.
Right, it's not their guy.
It just makes everything harder, and it has zero to do with how good somebody is. That's the thing that the outside world doesn't understand. That they don't understand it. A lot of times, it's zero to do with the person's ability. It has to do with someone else's preference, and when you're better off not. Honestly, if the person comes in, this is what I've learned. If the person comes in and you get that vibe that it's like they really you're not really going to be their person, and they're not all in on you, it's just better off not moving forward. Now in high school, it doesn't happen as much, but it does happen.
Yes,
It does happen. Like, if you guys got a new athletic director, you never know.
You might want a different person.
Right. So you never know. And it's interesting. I mean, I'm curious. It's interesting, like in the town I live in, because North it actually had such a great season again, and or a good season, and they actually beat South now.
Yeah.
I always think to myself, like, Antonucci was obviously a godsend that he is a legend. He turned it into this great thing, but obviously the guy who's right after him, that gig is not an easy gig, man, because you're compared to Antonucci. You're not
all the time. It's like taking It's like taking Penn State after Joe Pa, or Florida State after Bobby Bowden, or you know what I mean? Like, it's
very hard.
DeBoer after Saban, like shit, dude. Like,
yeah, yes, you could be very good and still have a lot of issues. So, but yeah, it's I'm curious on all that kind of stuff. But I also see, like, I heard I don't know if it's true, but I heard like Vianney is going to try and do what RBC has with St. James.
They're going to try and start like a youth.
They're trying. Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know if it's actually going to happen.
See, I think I think that is a lot harder when you don't have like a like I always reference Pope John, because they have a 7th and 8th grade middle school already there, right? Like, there's Pope John Middle School.
Has one, doesn't it? Don't they?
I don't think Vianney doesn't.
No, that school.
No, it might be a school that sends most of their kids there.
Okay.
But it's not like Pope John Middle School is like
Pope John
on Pope John campus. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's next.
Although that hasn't really helped them.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying it's
wise.
But I think when you.
But I know what you're saying, continuity.
Right, like, yeah, it's just like, it's like when you look at the programs in Texas where the middle school is attached to the high school, or whatever that is, that you're running the same shit, you're doing the same shit, the same. Buddy,
Parochial's so tough hard. In that, like, you could have that there, but people still have aspirations.
100%.
And so and people are still going to recruit them. They don't care what school they're at. So you could have them in your feeder forever, and somebody offers them a better situation, and it really doesn't matter, right? Like, now if a kid is on the fence, I think it definitely helps. I mean, going to that school all the way through, and they could take it or leave it. These other places, they're coming to you. Like, so correct. I think you might get the program. I think you'll get a lot more of the program kid from there.
Right. Yes.
I don't know that you're getting all of your. You might get lucky once in a while, get stars from that.
Right. I don't think you'll get that consistently.
I think you're going to get your program guys, which is not a bad thing. It's not
definitely not, because you can win a lot of games with those kids.
You win a lot of games with your program guys. You'll
probably have less issues.
You will. You're still going to have to go get a superstar from somewhere. But
always Jimmy's and Joe's, buddy.
Yeah, unless they.
I mean, shit. We just talked to a Division III coach who literally said we base everything we do around our players.
Right.
That's why we have 12 different packages on defense. Oh, that's a lot.
That is a lot of packages. That is. But cool.
All right,
man.
buddy. All right, man. I'll keep you up to date.
Good luck
I'll
tomorrow.
Let you know. Thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, we don't have to.
No, we're good for the rest of the week. We're off the rest of the week because I kind of did that. I structured it a little bit like that.
Yep.
Next week, like we said, we wanted to hit Georgia Miller on a monthly basis. So she's going to be like the second Tuesday of every month. So she'll be back on. And then we have I have a couple booked for next week too. So we'll be back rocking and rolling, next week.
What was I going to say? Next week, you're going to have to just have coffee next to you at all times.
Okay.
You're like,
hey, man.
Derek, you there?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Wouldn't be the first time I fell asleep on a freaking Zoom or a podcast.
The night ones, I have fallen asleep. Depends on how, like, if I got enough sleep the night before, I'm okay.
That's like I was talking to Wilson, Chad yesterday after we got off, like, hey man, come back on or whatever. Obviously now with like draft prep, like his mornings and days are like booked. I'm like, we could do a night one, buddy. I said, but night ones get a little wild. He's like, we'll make it work, bro. Like whatever it is,
Night ones get better. The best viewership, only because I know that we do that Rebel one at night. And that one's viewership is now part of it is obviously there's so much stuff going on in politics. So like as by the way, as crazy, and I've never known it until I started doing political shows, as crazy as sports is, and sports is crazy. Like all these things happen. I first, when I first started the politics stuff, I was like, I don't think we're going to have enough every week. That's going to be interesting, dude. We don't have enough time. Like it's crazy. All the things between that go on every week. I until I really started paying attention to it, like I would have, I obviously always paid attention to it, but not like more casually, right? And I was like, I'm just amazed at like how many things happen. So now I now know why, like the two by far most popular things on any TV network are sports and politics. That's it.
100%.
I really understand it now because it literally, it's the reality shows used to be popular, but what happened in reality shows is they were really staged. What's amazing about sports, and although some people think all this stuff is staged anyway, but sports and politics is actually real. It's actually real. That's happening, and it's happening in real time, and you don't know what's going to happen from week to week. So it's like it's its own reality show. Really, there's no
I agree.
reality shows. It's crazy. It's wild. Sports. I mean, that's why I developed that app. Man, it's. I mean, I'm finding out things like, oh my god, wow, like.
I know
it's crazy
because it searches everything.
It searches everything. Like I'm like, hey, can you find this, and this, and this, and this, and it's like boom, and then it gives me like an evaluation on every one of them, like right underneath it. I'm like, what? Like so, it gives me about. I rarely have I ever built anything that I was like, most of the things I build don't work.
Well,
they don't, because
look, I dove into that thing a little bit. Like I thought it was pretty cool. I just literally was typing in like school names, and it was giving me, this guy is transferring from here and he's committed, or this guy is taking a visit, but it looks like he's gonna go elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like
it's crazy.
Like just for reference, I typed in Rutgers, right, and it was like, hey, this guy's coming from Villanova. He's already signed. He's going to be there. This guy took a visit, but it looks like he's going to lean more towards going to Colorado because this is the reason why. And the ties, like this guy has visited, but he's also got visits to here, and here. Like it was just cool, dude.
It is, and it's like you're getting everything in real time. And I just put in last night. I was like, all right, can I figure out how to do this? So I figured out how to get it to. I just want the top 3 in real time. So anytime you go on, it takes about a minute or 2 for it to search it without me doing anything.
Right. I was going to say that was one of the things. Like I was like, oh, is this not working because it's slow? But it does take a little bit of time. But it's if you think about it, it's going through everything. So everything. It has to take time in order to get what you want. It does take a little bit more time. Don't get like
don't get
heavy.
But
yeah, 100%. Like it's coming.
Well, there's a quick button.
Really good,
you get a quick answer, but I realized it's not accurate. It's not accurate.
Fuck that.
The quick answers aren't going to be as accurate because you can't peruse all the information. It's just going to peruse a couple of sources, and that's probably that may or may not be accurate. But that's the thing. Like if you're patient, you let it just run through its thing. It's like, and it comes up, and like the first time it came up, I was like, I called up the guy Steve. I said, listen, I want you to type this stuff in and just tell me what you get and into the thing. He typed it in. He's like, this is what I got. I'm like, that's exactly what I got. Okay. All right. So now I know that I'm getting, all right, now type in like a change. Like we're looking for, instead of FBS quarterbacks for UConn, find me FCS quarterbacks for UConn. And it was like, boom. It gave me like 5 guys. Like I didn't even know who any of them were, by the way. Like, oh no, I knew who one was. Jaden Craig was on there. Jaden Craig. So I knew that was accurate. Jaden Craig is one of the best FCS guys in the portal. So at quarterback. So he's a Jersey guy. I can't remember where he's from, but he's a Jersey guy, and he's at Harvard. So I mean, like, my mind's going crazy because the possibilities of where it could go. So I created.
Absolutely.
And
I think it's really cool. Like, but
like
for us, I think it's cool for guys like us that like give a shit about that much. But like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta like understand what the whole thing is, like what you're actually looking at. Some people are looking at it like, what the hell is this? Like, like it's like, oh, you got to be in it. But
they don't know.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I think that's where I'm beginning to build out like a help desk.
Right. And what is all that? That's all like coding shit you got to do.
There. Yeah, it's coding and but it's not just the coding part. It's the it's kind of like some things don't work, you know what I mean, together. So
right. You got to figure that out.
You know what I mean? Like you have to figure out what works together because I put some things in there and all of a sudden didn't work the right way.
Right.
And then
and then you're troubleshooting, you're figuring it out. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, shit, dude, it's pretty cool.
Yep. And I'll tell you, it's interesting. It was great having the girl that we had on from Michigan, and
Ashley.
It's so interesting because down here where we are versus North Jersey, it is really a select group of people that are kind of the better people in what they do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's more defined.
Yeah, like I had people ask me questions about this person versus that person, and like people were asking me about speed, and I had mentioned just casually, like I said, if you're really looking for someone to develop speed for you, like in this area, I said, you're probably best going to Ripped, right? Because that's really Bobby's like forte.
That's his thing. Yeah, that's what he's done.
If you're not, that's his forte. Like, and that's like, but there are in North Jersey you might have 4 Bobbies, right? So that you could go to and you could be like
10-mile radius.
I'm very comfortable with any one of them. I'm going to get what I need, right? This one's closer to me. You don't have it as you have people, but you don't have as many. Like if you wanted a guru in this, you couldn't just get it as easily. That's why it was interesting listening to her because how she went through her process. Like I just see it from a dad going through it now, how her parents, I could see how her parents are like, okay, yeah, we could try here and here. And here are kind of the select places that you're going to have to go through to get what you need down here. Not that there aren't great, there are, the people are great that do it, but you don't have, the population's not as big. So you don't have 4 or 5 times as many, it's very interesting, but anyway, all
right, buddy.
I'll
keep you in the loop.
You got it, brother. Later.
See you, man.
And good luck.
Thanks, buddy.
You'll do great.
Game day.
Later.
Later.